And I'm also delighted to follow our great bishop, because I'm exactly going to pick up on his last theme, the hope that we from our diaspora here in the United States will be able to get involved and have political leaders, as we had Senator Voinovich, as we had Helen Delage Bentley, and we have nobody in Congress now. And so my plea to you and my discussion this morning will be that the Serbian diaspora will not become politically effective unless we have individual political participation. Individual political participation. Later today, you will have experts talk about collective political action committees, lobbying, a very important aspect. But I'm going to talk to you about individual political action, and there are 3 actions you can take as an individual to become effective in politics. The first is to join one of the 2 leading political parties. Now, you can join the Libertarians or one of the other parties, but if a party doesn't have elected representatives in the state capitol, if it doesn't have elected representatives in Congress, it is a talking club. The only 2 effective political parties are the Democrats and the Republicans, and in order to be effective within them, you should join the parties. Now, joining the party means actually signing up, and you sign up at the local level. Both the Democrats and Republicans are established along the lines of the political organization. So in a state that has assembly districts, there will be assembly clubs or local delegate clubs. States with state senate districts, there may be a state senate district club. There will be a congressional organization, and there will be a state party. You have to join at the local level. Now, many of you will receive letters from the Democrats or Republicans asking you to donate 10, 15, 25,000 if you want to be an eagle in the Republican Party. You can donate the 25,000, but you're not a member of the party. You're only a member of the party if you sign up locally. Being a member of the party means you will be able to vote for who the delegates are to the state party convention. You will be able to vote on who the delegates will be for the national convention. This all comes from party membership, party leadership. I was, as a young man, the chairman of the 5th Congressional District Republican Party in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We had funds. The parties do collect money. They do send money to candidates. As the party chairman, you can help candidates. You can help elected officials. It is a very important function. As a young 25-year-old Republican Party chairman, I was asked by the governor of the state, a Republican, whether a certain Serb lawyer who was not active in politics would make a good judicial candidate. My God, the governor of the state asking a 27-year-old whether somebody should be appointed a judge at the time. Yeah, I was the chairman of the Republican Party for the 5th Congressional District, which is the northern part of Milwaukee. So joining the political party, being a party member, if that works for you, if you have that interest, go that route. The second route is to actively support a candidate. What I mean by actively supporting a candidate is physically going down the candidate's headquarters, knowing the candidate, meeting the candidate, maybe providing some funds. If you're not wealthy, you provide your time, you work door to door, you help prepare material. You might be the driver for a young person, you might be the driver for the candidate. I've done all those things. When I was a 22-year-old, I helped a 24-year-old fellow run for the state assembly. He lost. 4 years later, he ran for the state senate. He won. 6 years later, as a state senator, he voted for me to be the public service commissioner in the state of Wisconsin, confirming me before the state legislature. And 9 years after that, he ran for the Senate. And 9 years after that, Senator Robert Kasten supported and spoke on behalf of my nomination as the federal commissioner. By that time, I'd known him for 20 years. So it is a long-term process. It's not overnight, but your college classmates, your work friends, people you know in the community, that is where the candidates will come from. And if you get in there early and help them and work with them, you will be able to, when there is an issue, call their office and say, hi, This is Micho Pavlovich from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I'd like to talk to the congressman. Oh, of course, Mr. Pavlovich, we know who you are. Congressman said anytime you call, put you right through. That's the way it works. Veza. Veza, you know what that word is, connections, and that's the way you make connections by meeting, working for the candidates and whatever. The last way to become, of course, active in politics is to be a candidate yourself. Easiest thing is to start at the local level, and there are many positions that are available. There are school boards, there are local municipal elections where you can get known. Start at the local level. It's very hard to jump in and run for Congress unless you're a multimillionaire IT businessman or businesswoman or you're a famous celebrity. That's fine. People do it that way. But most people elected in office sitting in Washington have come up through the ranks. They've run for the state assembly. They've been mayors of towns. Being a candidate is important, even if you lose. I was a candidate as a 28-year-old Republican Party leader. I ran for the state Senate in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. No Republican had gotten more than 20% of the vote. I got 18%. I didn't even get what my predecessor got, but it was okay. I ran and the party appreciated it. And later, when it was time to talk about which of the party officials should or shouldn't be promoted or should be counted on, I was counted on because I had worked for the party, even though I knew I was going to lose going in. There was no way. That district had never elected a Republican, but I ran anyway as a Republican, giving the voters a choice, the minority voters a choice, and earning goodwill with the leadership of the Republican Party, later the leadership of the 3 or 4 political campaigns I worked for, including the first campaign I worked for, which was the campaign for Richard Nixon back in 1968 when I was co-chairman of the Republican Party of the University of Wisconsin. So there are the 3 ways that are there. If you need any guidance or direction or want to know more about it, please call me, but there's no way we're going to get, remember George Voinovich was the mayor of Cleveland before he went in. Helen Delage Bentley was a well-known newswoman. She was the maritime writer for the Baltimore Sun, one of the great newspapers. So she was, if you will, a celebrity. There are other ways to do it. Right now, we've got some young people around the country that are running. We need to support them. So at a minimum, support your own Serbian candidates when they run. We had in Maryland here, we had Gordana Cifarelli run as the lieutenant governor candidate. We're very proud of her for running. It was a tough race. She didn't win. Had she have won, she won the primary. That's correct. And Gordana is here. I want to thank her for that. But that's what we need, and we need to support her when she runs again. My friend Bob Kasten ran as a 24-year-old recent college graduate and lost his first election. And then 2 years later, he ran, got his old team together, myself. My wife even worked on that campaign, although I didn't meet her till 8 years later, I found out. But we had bumped into each other. Apparently the chemistry wasn't there at that time. And I met her 8 years later, and she knew Bob Kasten as well as I did. So you have the opportunity. The parties are open. Sometimes they're not as open as they like. The Virginia party is very hard to become a member. Believe it or not, I even wrote letters to the chairman of the Virginia Republican Party saying, how do you become a member? Never answered. The point was you had to join the local organization. They're a little clubbish, but once they found out you're sincere, you're legitimate, people will come around. We have, Americans are good people. I wasn't born in America. I'm an immigrant. I'm the first immigrant to be appointed first Serbian immigrant to be appointed by a governor, first Serbian immigrant to be appointed by the president. I believe I'm the first Serbian immigrant to be the chairman and CEO of a New York Stock Exchange listed firm. These are all fine. None of that I did by myself. Most of that I did with friends and colleagues and others as we work through the political process. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's an old ancient Greek saying that if you don't take an interest in politics, politics will take an interest in you. And almost everything we do is affected by politics. Now, one subset of what I'm going to tell you is that when you have some political clout and you understand how the political process works, not only are there elective offices, but there are also appointive offices, some of which are full-time, as when I was commissioner on the State Public Service Commission. Others were part-time. Governor Thompson came to me after I was a commissioner and said, I'd like you to stay on to be chairman of the Public Service Commission. I said, Governor, I've spent 6 years here at a government salary. When I joined, my young wife and I were newlyweds. 6 years later, I have 3 children and a wife and a mortgage, and I really need to get back in the private sector. He said, I understand. Would you be willing to serve on one of our part-time boards? And I said, yes. And at the time, the state of Wisconsin had 2 boards. They had the Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin, a very prestigious, and they had what was called a Natural Resources Board, which at that time regulated all the parks. I ran into the governor by the Pfister Hotel, Tommy Thompson, later Secretary of HAW, and Tommy said, Branko, I got a position for you now that you're working in the private sector. You're going to be my chairman of the racing board. I said, the what? I never heard of that. Oh, he said, we just passed a new law. Where have you been? I said, I've been in Europe for the last month or 2 consulting as an engineer. He said, no, he said, we passed a law. There's a new state racing board. I'm going to nominate you to the Senate. We'll have Senate hearings. And it's a part-time board, pays $50 a meeting, and there won't be too many meetings, once a month. I called my boss back in New Jersey. I said, got a gubernatorial appointment. He said, how much would it take? I said, a day or 2 a month. He goes, that's fine. It took 2 weeks a month, actually, to get it set up, but I didn't tell him that. In any event, those kinds of boards are available, but you'll only get appointed if people know you. And they will know you through your political action. They will know you because you were on the governor's campaign committee. They will know you because you were a member of the party and you ran for office, or they'll know you because you were a party regular, attending meetings, helping raise funds. It is really practical politics. And for those of you that have the time and the interest, step forward. Step forward and do it. Start small. Start with joining the local party and getting your feel. Then maybe work with candidates. And then, if you're ready, as Gordana was, step forward, put yourself out there, and be a candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the individual political action that you can take. I encourage you to take it. That's the way George Voinovich became a U.S. Senator, the way Helen Bentley became a Congresswoman, and other officials that we've had. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. It is doable. Any one of you here can do it, can be a candidate, can run for office, can work with a candidate, and you'll all be welcome. Thank you very much.